Our objective for this assignment is to create 3 blocks and add attributes. Each block represents a furniture on this office floor plan. So to begin to creating that, start AutoCAD with our ordinary template and set our limits and units as described on the assignment sheet on Canvas. For this particular case, we have used architectural units. You select the units and select architectural, and also change the limits to reflect the architectural scale of 1/4 inch to 1 foot. So for that, make sure you change your limits by typing limits from keyboard as you have done before, or select the drawn limits and change from 0,0 to 44 feet by 34 feet. That's the calculation you will make for 1/4 foot, which is 48 scale factor multiplied to paper size of our template, which was 11 by 8.5. So then you use those dimensions and create these 3 simple figures that you see here. Each one represents a furniture on that floor plan. Once you have done that, you want to add attributes to the block. For defining attribute, you can type from the keyboard ATTDEF, or just select the attribute from the insert on the ribbon. If you are on the home tab, select insert. You will see that a tool for define attributes, and this opens up a dialog box which shows you basically a few items that you need to adjust here. One is the tag. The tag represents the information for that particular part that you're creating. In this case, we will call this one, let's start with the part. Lower or uppercase doesn't matter for this one. You type name of the part as a tag, and make sure that there is no space, just the one word, or could be combination of word and number, but no space. Prompt, enter something such as enter part number, or part descriptions, or part code, a part number. And default, I'm going to leave in blank right now. And here's the size I have changed to 4 inches because it's going to be too small by default. Change in 4, and justify left and invisible. This is important to check this box says invisible, because we don't want to show the part description. We want to see the description, not the part name. So, okay. Now come back here and then select this part within this one of these figures that you have here. So as you notice, switch to the uppercase, even though I typed lowercase. I'm going to repeat this by pressing enter, and this time I'm going to say color or description. I will start with description, and I will say this enter or describe something, statement that tells the user what to do, what action to take. I said describe this item or this part, and then default leave in blank and left justify. And how about description and the visibility on this? For one, we want to show the description. In other words, we want to say chair, table, a desk. So that's a description. So we will leave that one off. So we want to see that. And then say, okay, again, the same text height. Place this one is important to place somewhere that you will be describing. So that would be somewhere in the middle here. I will have this left justified. And then one more time, we are going to repeat this for color. color for this one, enter color for this part, and then leave default and blank, and then invisible also. We want to not to show the color, and then okay, and add color here. Again, these color and part location is not that critical, but what description is the one that we're going to display. So in advance, you would know which one you want to make visible or invisible. So if I check that again, the color, make sure that it's selected invisible, and description is the only one is visible. This is important to make sure that's the case. Okay, and now if you repeat this one, you will see that under this define attribute, we have the last one also invisible. Okay, now after that, you don't want to repeat this for other ones because they're the same. So you would use the copy tool. You can select copy tool from modify, or you can type as you know. You have done this before, but I'm going to show you here again using the copy tool, selecting all three items, press enter, and pick a point to move to rest of the places. And I'd be careful on location of this description for this. Probably I will say start them from somewhere inside here. So that's the place going to start. For this one, I have room to be centered. And so this way we have uniform case. So after we created this, we will make blocks out of these attributes. So I'm going to show you how to make that block, which is the very simple one, by basically going to the creating the block. Create a block and type the name of the block. Let's say desk. And select object. Which one is the desk? We have this one is the desk. So we select not only that rectangle representing desk, but also all the text included within that. So all the attributes. I use the crossing to select everything. The next is the base point. Base point, I will pick a, defining the point here, I will pick the midpoint as a base. Then you want to delete, you want to keep, that's is a choice. I have already one here. I'm going to say redefine. Okay. So I'm going to go back to check my layer. See what I did? I didn't mention that earlier. Before we create all these, make sure that you are on zero layer. There is advantage on zero layer. That means it's going to adapt to your host layer whenever you use the block. It's going to change the properties such as color, line type to adapt to your current layer. So that's the zero layer. If you don't create on zero layer, it's going to stay on the constant properties that are going to change. It's not a good practice to do that. So everything, make sure, is on zero layer. Once you start your drawing, always remember it goes to object layer, switch to zero layer. Okay, with that, I have created one already, desk. So I'm going to create another one. Back to the insert, define a block. And this one, I'm going to call it table. Again, the same way, I'm going to select all the object I want to make him as a table is this one here, including the attributes, defining the base point, midpoint of this lower line, and then, okay. We have one more block to define, that's the chair. And select object and define the base point. Okay. all the blocks are created. The next video, I'm going to show you how to bring these to the floor plan.